Awesome questions as usual. Post some more down below and let's get started. Could a larger neck be acquired through manual resistance training? Of course. Manual resistance, for those who don't know, is when someone is actively pulling or pushing on your neck. So instead of doing a neck curl with a plate on your forehead, well, you got someone forcing down on your head. Or instead of doing a neck extension with a harness, you're bent forward like that, and someone's just pushing on the back of your head. Okay? Yeah. This is time tested, works very well. The only problem is tracking your progress. How much pressure is being put on that neck? And are you able to track that over a long period of time? In other words, will progressive overload take place? I'm sure it's very possible, but the tracking might be an issue. But could you build a big neck with manual resistance? Absolutely. It'll be the same as using bands in a sense. It'll be constant time and retention if you, all the joint angles, it feels heavy on the neck for the most part. And a great example people use manual resistance are wrestlers. Wrestlers is pretty much manual resistance and bridging. And if you look at some high school athletes, these guys have 19-inch necks, very common stuff. Bigger necks than bodybuilders, bigger necks than some of the elite deadlifters on roids. And these are natural high school wrestlers. Yeah, there's some gearheads in there too, but for the most part, you can get a big neck with this. Do I recommend this? I mean, you could add it to your routine, but I prefer to use standard neck curls, neck extensions with weight. I think you'll get better results like that. But hey, you do what works for you, all right? I think that it would be beneficial to cheat rows as I can row 135. Strict for sets of 10, but I've plateaued. Being only 16 years old, are cheat rows bad for my lower back as I am still developing? Cheat rows aren't bad for your lower back. They're actually quite safe. However, you should not be doing them. There's 2 red flags here. Number 1, you're a novice lifter. Secondly, you're 16 years old. This plateau that you're experiencing is likely not that serious. 135, no. See, this is one of the issues that I encounter. Novices will see me doing cheat rows, and then they want to employ it. And they believe that they'll get better results this way. I don't recommend this. Build your base. Get a thick and wide back without using the cheat rows. Learn how to use proper form. Get really strong at strict rows first. You should be maxing out the dumbbell stack, strict form, before you ever do a cheat rep. You should be rowing at least 225, maybe even 250 before you do cheating. Like, I recommend 250 and above, personally. So at 135, bro, that's beginner status. There's no reason for you to be doing cheat rows. If you're stalling, it's probably because of your age, your programming, and even your diet. So get on a basic novice program, eat more food, eat a calorie surplus. Bro, that plateau is going to be eradicated. You should not be having issues with a 135 row. Okay, and I do not condone cheat rows for novices. You just don't need it. And the same thing for for partials and all these overloading movements. Novices don't have to do that stuff. Okay, keep it basic for now, and you'll get the best results possible. So no, I don't want to see you doing cheat rows, man. You don't have to do that right now. Hey Alex, why shouldn't I do sets of 4 in your novice program? Okay, I've received this question hundreds of times over these years, so I'm going to address it again. Basically, people will abuse the progression system. If you look at how I set it up, you need to have 15 repetitions minimum across all sets in order to add weight. Now I know that some people are going to ego lift. And the problem with sets of 4 is that it makes it really easy to do this. If you get 4, 4, 4, 4, guess what? 16 total reps, even though that is the lowest end of the spectrum. That's why I said it's either 3 sets or 5 sets. At least this way you cannot abuse the progression system. And even if it's not 4, 4, 4, 4, all you need is 1 set where you're getting 6 repetitions, and then the rest you can pretty much screw up, and you'll still get your total 15. That's the issue. You're going to have guys that are jumping the weight too quickly, or they're going to get 6, 5, 4, 4, or 6, 6, 4, 4. You get what I'm saying? Or 5, 5, 4, 4, or 5, 4, 4, 4. I just don't like seeing those numbers. I want to see you getting those reps in for the vast majority of your sets and not abusing the progression system. That said, it could be done. It could be. But you have to check your ego at the door, man. Don't be abusing the progression system. So that's why I did that. I can sense people were going to have problems with this. You think maxing out every week on the bench press with the same variation is okay? To a certain point, yes. But afterwards, you're going to have to rotate. Now, if you're following a percentage-based program, or you're going at, say, 90%, then yeah, you can keep doing that every week, man. You can go at 90% 3 times a week, no problem. And you can do that for like a month straight, no problem. But if you're using concurrent periodization, you're doing true max effort attempts, 1 rep maxes. You're not basing your system off percentages here, and you have a volume day right after, and you keep repeating that process. After about the 3-week mark, you're going to start going down, down, down. Your chance of injury increases dramatically. You might suffer overuse, and your strength is going to plateau. The best thing you could do is rotate the movement to something specific if you're following concurrent. That's how you run it best, because otherwise, the biological law of accommodation will come in and wreck you. So if you're not adjusting the parameters, okay, remember there's 2 ways to overcome the biological law of accommodation. The parameters, aka sets, rest, percentage, etc. If you're not changing that, then you have to rotate the movement. And that's the best way to do it when you're maxing on the bench every single week. So I don't recommend the same variation. You can make slight tweaks that'll get you right out of it. You can go from a regular bench to close grip with a pause. You can do a dead bench. You can do a floor press. You can do a bench with bands. Simple little tweaks will prevent you from getting all these problems. But if you're going to say, hey, every single week on max effort day, I'm going to do the competition bench. Good luck. For most people, after about 3 weeks, you're done. You're going to have problems. Is there an optimal bench grip? Mine's very narrow but weak, whereas my friend's grip is a lot wider and a lot stronger. And how wide is your grip? In my opinion, the best bench press grip width is the one that suits your physiology the most. And this goes for every single movement. The best rowing grip, the best overhead press grip, even the heights at which you pull. You always have to factor in anthropometry. Not everything is black and white. We can't say that this is the only position, that this is the best position for everybody. The leverages are a huge factor here. Now, I do believe that most people are better off using a narrower grip. It'll save their shoulders in the long run. I think they're going to get a lot stronger too through the increased range of motion. You're going to just build more strength, in my opinion, using a more narrow grip. I don't like the super, super wide stuff, okay? And, injury prevention is key. So I like that. But you have to experiment to see what's best for you. For me, I like a thumb away from the smooths, okay? Either a thumb away or I'll go a little bit past that. So a thumb away and maybe a finger or two. I don't even go at the rings. I don't even do pinky on the rings. That's too wide for me. It is. I'm like in the middle. I'm like between the rings and the smooths, all right? Now that's just me. I have short arms, and that's what feels best for my physiology. I can go a bit wider, but it's like, it doesn't feel good on my shoulders. Even if you can lift more weight, if you're ruining your shoulders, to me, that's not optimal. What's optimal is a grip that covers everything. Injury prevention, strength gain, all that stuff. So I think for most people, it's going to be a little bit past shoulder width. It's going to be on the narrow side, not ultra wide. For strictly size and hypertrophy, how many full body sessions a week? Whatever you want to do, man. I do full body twice a week. I used to do 3 times a week, even 4 times a week. My old system, the Alpha Body, was full body concurrent, 100% auto-regulated. I would train every other day, and if I felt tired, then I just wouldn't train that day. I'd rest at 72. So I would always get at least 3 to 4 times a week, and sometimes if I was really lazy, maybe twice a week. That's one way of doing it. Right now, with Naturally Enhanced, it's very strict. Monday, intensity day. Thursday, volume day. But then Tuesday and Friday is the mini home workouts, all right? That's how I train right now, and it works very good. Some people, they do super high frequency, full body every day, but the sets are really, really low, and the percentages don't go above 90%. So there's many different ways to approach full body training. It's not black and white. This is the only way. So look, if you're a bodybuilder wanting to do full body training, maybe start with a 3 times a week template, heavy, light, medium. That works pretty well. Do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, weekends off. That's a classic system. Works very, very good. Or you could try a 2 times a week template if you're someone who's more busy. If you really got balls, a lot of free time, and you want some extra strength gains in there too, maybe every day, but you really got to pay attention to your recovery. You got to do it right too. But I would say, yeah, start off with a 3 times a week. You should benefit greatly from that. How do you get all the micronutrients, etc., if you fast all day and only eat 1 or 2 meals a day? Great question. Well, the thing is, I follow a whole food plant-based diet, so all the meals that I have are already containing a lot of micronutrients. So that's a giver right there. I include lots of veggies. I eat fruits. I mean, my meals are clean. I make good food. And I will be making recipe videos showing you how to make all this good stuff, right? So I'm covered just off that, usually. But my real secret is smoothies. I make smoothies. Okay, you know what the ORAC scale is? Some guys believe in this, some don't. It tells you the values of the antioxidants. The number is, I get well over 20,000 units a day. Okay, and I believe that the recommended is around 10,000 or so. That's like considered optimal. I get well over 20,000 because of the smoothies that I create, okay? I have berry smoothies, and I throw in stuff in there too. I'll throw in amla powder, for example. And I even have some other things that I include, little drops, okay? Which just raise the value like crazy. So I'm getting my antioxidants, I'm getting my micronutrients. I'll usually have the vegetables with my big meal. That'll normally be included automatically. And then maybe like half an hour later or with the meal itself, I'll have a giant smoothie. Just like I'll fill up the whole thing with a bunch of fruits and just blend it all up. Sometimes I'll throw in veggies in there too. But basically the secret is to mega dose your fruits and have a lot of antioxidants in one shot. And I'm telling you, the powders do help. Things like amla powder, bro. Yeah, it adds up, man. That's a little hack. Add that to your smoothies. Simple stuff. And I put a lot because I can handle the taste. Guys, once you've tried ashwagandha, man, you could drink anything. Real talk. Ashwagandha tastes horrible. So I throw stuff in my smoothies, and that's the trick, all right? What are your thoughts on vegan gains saying chest flies are useless, that all people need to do is get stronger at pressing? I disagree with the statement that it's useless. When you say something is useless, you're saying that there's zero application, that they're literally like there's no point. The exercise should not exist. To me, that's being biased. It's simply untrue. It's factually wrong on all levels, okay? I certainly agree that they're optional, and I think that most people can get a big chest without doing flies. I don't do them. I build my chest through push-ups, weighted dips, and bench press. I don't remember the last time I did a fly. And I think the vast majority of lifters can get massive pecs, watermelon pecs, without needing to do them. But to say that they're worthless, that they do nothing, it's not true. And a lot of guys use flies with tremendous success. And a lot of people use isolation movements with tremendous success. You may have recalled an exercise not too long ago, the upper chest shrug. No, that was working like hell. A lot of people were using it with great success to fill up their upper chest. Even Athlete X talked about it. And Athlete X is not a fan of flies, by the way. But there's different ways to do it, you know? There's not just the standard dumbbell fly. You can do it with cables. You can do it with bands. Flies are just, they work. And I know there are some powerlifters like Matt Wenning who actually incorporate that into their strength training program. It's actually pretty genius. He'll take a band, put it on top of a power rack, and he'll do high repetition flies to build up the connective tissue, man, and really help with the pecs, which is crucial for raw lifters. So I think you can use flies in that way. You can use it to get some extra volume in. Imagine you did some presses. You want to fry that chest to the absolute maximum, grabbing some cables, really flexing those pecs, squeezing it. It is going to help to a certain extent. It's not anything crazy, but you can build a big chest with that. But it can help. And a lot of bodybuilders swear by the chest fly. You can't just disregard anecdote. And I can take it one step further. There are some people who are pretty strong in the bench who don't have the biggest chests. And I have an example right here in this very comment section, which I'll be addressing after. So I don't agree with that thinking. I agree that it's optional. It's not the biggest thing, but they're not worthless. Some people can actually benefit from incorporating flies. Does it mean anything that my 1 rep max is different with and without clips on the end of the barbell bench specifically? Yeah, man, actually, some clips are like quite heavy. You can weigh them yourself. Some of them it's like the equivalent of putting on microplates. Okay, see this? See these little things, these little black things? Depending on which one you buy, they can be like weighted, like legit. This clip, I don't know how much it weighs. Maybe 0.5 pounds, 1 pound or something. Still adds up. If I put that on the bar, that adds total weight. Just because it's not a plate doesn't mean you're not adding weight, okay? Some people, like you remove the clips, they can lift a little bit more. In fact, when I went to Omar Isof's gym, these exact clips, okay, this is plastic, so it's not that heavy. His were like made of a solid metal. Like they were weighted. They were legit weighted. It felt like I was grabbing on to 2.5 pound plates. Like they were literally like, you could feel it when you pick it up. Like, damn, this is adding weight. So for some movements, that can make a difference. That said, I wouldn't sweat about this too much. Your plates are probably not that accurate anyway. Unless you've weighed every single one of them, you know exactly what's on the bar, or using calibrated plates, your thing is probably off a little bit. Like if it says 315 on the bar, maybe it's like 313, maybe it's even 317. So most gym plates are off anyway. So I wouldn't worry about little clips on the side making that much of a difference, even though it does add a little bit. I wouldn't, just forget about it. Count what's on the bar, okay? Wrist curls don't feel all that great on my wrist. Can I get big forearms if I replace wrist curls with finger curls for high volume? And will that improve my grip strength? I don't know what you mean by finger curls. Are you talking about taking bands, shoving it like between your fingers and then curling it like that? That's still a wrist curl, right? In that case, like, it's probably not wrist curls that's causing you problems. It's the way that you're doing them. What I can say is that a lot of people are going to have wrist problems doing the regular wrist curl with dumbbells or barbell, where you put your arm at the edge of a bench and you're just flexing your wrist. Has to do with leverages. You're putting a lot of stress on the joints by doing that. Now, if you do it with cables, a very different story. Try this out. Go on the seated cable row station, put a V-bar, right? Then attach some fat grips to that V-bar handle. And then wrist curl. You won't get any bad pains because everything's in line the proper way. You do the same thing with bands. Take a band, right? Attach it to a power rack and then start pulling it in. Watch some arm wrestlers when they're doing the wrist curls with bands and cables. That's probably the best way of doing it without getting any pain whatsoever. And worst case, if you still want to get those wrist flexion benefits, do the wrist roller. Watch my video I made with Fit Will Expose, showing you how to do the DIY version. I get massive pumps doing that. I actually prefer doing reverse wrist curls on that. I don't do it with a dumbbell or a barbell, okay? I prefer doing the reverse wrist roller, and that gets me those benefits. So I would recommend that you use bands and cables and that you make the angle such that it's like all forearm, all right? Don't do it the regular way with the bench. And also, you can do it standing up if you want free weights. So stand up with the dumbbells by your side and then wrist curl. You'll feel the difference, trust me. As far as grip strength is concerned, wrist flexion is not really the best for that anyway. You want to do specific stuff, and I'll make more videos on that. Or watch my ultimate grip strength guide, okay? Hi Alex, I have boulder shoulders, but I severely lack in the chest area despite me being strong at horizontal presses. My pause bench, 1 rep max, is at 350 pounds. Wow. Can't do dips. It messes my shoulder up. What would be your advice to help develop my pecs? Incline press only increase the imbalance between my shoulders and chest so far. Okay. Sounds to me like you genetically have a weaker chest and you're probably shoulder and arm dominant. Okay? Now, I will say this. Your case is quite unusual. You have a 350 pause bench and your chest is lagging. Man, I mean, stuff happens. What can I say? I have a strong bench as well, but I have some of the worst arms in YouTube fitness. So I have the inverse problem of you. For me, it's like my chest is on point, my arms aren't. So I get what you're saying. And I think in your situation, man, you have to train more like a bodybuilder. Just real talk, you got to up your volume. And you know what? Maybe even incorporate things like flies. Like this is where it becomes beneficial for guys who have lagging chests and they've tried getting stronger at the bench and they're still lagging. Now, I haven't seen your pecs. If you have a 350 bench, it's probably not that bad. I can't imagine it being that bad. It's probably just proportionally smaller to your shoulders and arms. Like Nick Wright, for example, said that he had a small chest for years. When I look at his chest, I don't see anything that bad. It's just that his arms are so much bigger, which dwarf the chest. In fact, Louis Marco recommended him many years ago to make his arms smaller. And then Nick responded by saying, no, I'm just going to make them bigger and bigger. So it could be a proportion issue rather than the size issue, right? That's very possible. So look, man, weighted dips mess your shoulders. Try high volume push-ups. Try doing a nucleus overload cycle where you're doing push-ups every single day. You know, Omar Isuf did like thousands of pull-ups at the end of the year. Do the same thing. Push-ups every day, getting that volume in. I think that's going to make a big difference. Also, increase the volume of your presses. Stay away from the 1 rep maxes. Stay away from pure powerlifting type programming. Maybe increase your exercise selection. Incorporate different types of bench press. Okay? You can pause on your dumbbell presses. You can do all kinds of stuff like that. Switch to variations. Use a camber bar if you have to. Do dead bench. It's really going to build those pecs from a dead stop. Add some flies in there too, okay? And I think that should help you in a major way. Alex, do you think it's possible to build respectable leg mass using only unilateral exercises such as lunges, step-ups, split squats? I want to build more leg mass without placing too much stress on the body as I would with heavy barbell squats, making more out of less weight. Of course, man. You said it yourself, it's making more out of less weight. The reality is that if progressive overload is taking place on these movements, your legs will get bigger. And some of those movements you listed are among the best. Lunges, man, can't go wrong with that. You'll get amazing legs with lunges. If you just did lunges for the rest of your life, that's the only movement you freaking did, and you did enough volume and you got stronger at it, you'd have amazing legs. They would look great. They would perform great. I mean, look, I'm all for the barbell back squat for building bigger legs, but if you don't want to do it, screw it. You don't have to. I haven't squatted in years, for example, because I'm satisfied with my leg size. I do unilateral stuff just like you, pistol squats, and basic little stuff. So yeah, man, get your lunge up. Maybe do 225 for reps. Imagine you're walking down the freaking gym with 225 on your back, high repetitions. Imagine you're maxing out the dumbbell stack, 2 dumbbells in your hand, going for a walk, getting that freaking volume in, man. Whenever I would do lunges, my glutes were so sore, my legs were so sore, I couldn't even I'd have to trip to get to the freaking water fountain. My legs were just like, oh, unbelievable pain. I know that lunges used to give me that every single time, man. Lunges are awesome, as are all the other movements you listed. So don't worry about it, my friend. You will get great legs following this approach. What are your thoughts on diet breaks when cutting? Jeff Nippard has made a video on it. Well, look, man, Jeff Nippard releases amazing content. And if he's saying that it's backed up by science, that taking a diet break once in a while can actually help in losing fat long term, then I say go for it. I think a lot of guys can benefit from doing this. They're cutting for a long period of time, and then they decide to maintain a little bit, just maintain a little bit of leaner state, and then back into the cutting. They keep going back and forth, back and forth. I know Kino Body recommends the same thing. And a lot of his clients are having great results in getting lean. So I would say if Jeff Nippard made a video supporting this, and he has scientific research to back it up and everything, then hey, give it a shot, man. Try it out. What is the average neck size of a male? Well, you're talking about the sedentary male. It's probably around 14 inches. I don't know what the average size is of a neck. I don't go around with a measuring tape saying, hey, what's your neck, man? I don't know. But I do know that most people have pencil necks. It's just the truth. Next time you go on the bus or you take public transportation, or you're just walking down the street, look at people's necks. And you'll be amazed how skinny they are. It's just unreal. Unless they're really fat. Then it's a different story. They'll have all kinds of stuff around their neck. But the moment they lose that weight, skinny. So I would say, yeah, the average is probably around 14. For lifters, it could be a bit higher because you'll get indirect stimulation. Still not optimal, but you will get indirect stimulation. I would say maybe about 15, 16 inches. You tend to see that in lifters. Some of the super heavyweights are around 17, 18. But even those guys could be bigger if they train it. But yeah, probably around 14. I don't know. What do you think? How many sets of direct neck work a week is recommended? Well, that depends on how many movements you're doing. Like, it can vary quite a bit, man. Are you doing the whole thing? You're doing the neck curl, neck extension, and neck side raise? If so, it can be quite high, the sets. Or are you just doing like a few? Are you just doing one? Just a neck curl? So it depends. If you're just doing the neck curl, man, it could be like 9 sets a week type of deal. Maybe 10 sets a week. If you're doing all 3, it might be around 24 sets a week. Maybe even 36. Personally, if I look back, I got the best gains doing around 24 sets a week. Okay? Now, I don't know what the upper limit of neck volume is. Personally, I don't think there is much of a limit. I think you can keep raising it as much as you can. And now we're starting to see research showing that the gym bros were right all along about volume training. So all these minimalist guys who were preaching outdated science, well, now we're starting to see a difference. Check out Jeff Nippard. He interviewed this guy recently. Basically, it's possible that there's no upper limit to volume. There's recommendations, but there might be no limit. And if that's true, man, that's just going to shit in all the faces of these guys who talk trash about volume workouts. Really looking forward to seeing how that research progresses. But yeah, man, I would say just don't even worry about it. Who cares? Do the most amount of volume that you can for that given session. Make sure that you're making progress over a long period of time. Make sure you're recovering. And you're going to be all good, all right? So for me, it was around 24 sets. For you, I don't know what it might be. Maybe try 30 sets for starters. Maybe 10 sets per workout. Should I focus on pull-up instead of barbell rows? I can only do 5x5 pull-ups, 137 body weight, and only 8 sets of 5 barbell rows, 100 pounds. Okay, man, you're clearly a novice lifter and you only weigh 137 pounds. You got to get stronger all around, my friend. First of all, you got to put on some weight, and don't just focus on pull-ups, all right? Do it all. I would recommend that you run my free novice program. It'll be right up your alley. I think you'll love it very, very much. Your weight will definitely increase. You'll probably gain another 20 pounds easy, no problem. And those numbers will rise. Instead of doing 100 pounds, you'll be at freaking 225 on your rows. And your pull-ups, you'll be doing your weighted, no problem. You can already do it. Body weight for 5x5, excellent. Get on my novice program, okay? Try it out. It's going to help you out. And then watch my video on why skinny guys are struggling, which is going to be eating more food, okay? So novice program, eat some more food, and focus on both, rows and pull-ups. And then once you pass novice phase, if you want to specialize in one or the other, be my guest. But I see no reason why you would just do one. Like especially at your body weight and for what you're doing. Nah, do both and gain some weight, all right? I feel like my head is going to explode when doing overhead press. Any fixes? Yeah, you might not be breathing correctly. The air is probably like way too high up. And I could see you probably like hyperextending your neck, like really badly, which might be causing pressure. Watch my video that I made on exertion headaches, but I would say that it's very likely that you're not breathing correctly. Or maybe your belt is on too tight if you're wearing one. So your belt is like super tight. You have bad breathing habits combined, and then you're like hyperextending the neck. That might be causing problems in your head. It could also be that you're not used to heavy lifting. Maybe doing something like a rack pull above the knee for a little bit will teach you how to strain. Yeah, maybe, huh? Get used to lifting heavier. Maybe try concurrent periodization. Start maxing out on a frequent basis. Get used to maxing out. People lift heavy on a frequent basis. This is not really common unless maybe you have a health problem that I don't know about. You got blood pressure issues. Maybe it's the pre-workout that you're taking. Who knows what it could be? But try all those things, all right? Alex, I do 45-pound neck side, 2 22-pound plates. How do I increase the weight on the side? No room for plates left. Can't grab 3 plates. Should I switch the exercise, increase the volume? You can do both. You can either switch the movement to something else, which will allow you to make progress. A good one is with a neck harness. There's pretty much no restrictions at that point. You just attach a band through the harness, and then you can do your side raises, no problem. Or you just increase the volume. I had a similar problem to you. What I would do is like really, really high volume. Now, if you got balls, 3 sets of 100. Try that out. So you got the 2 plates on your head, on the side, the small ones, right? Boom. 3 sets of 100. That's all you'll ever need. Either do 3 sets of 100 or switch the variation to neck harness of bands. All right, last question of the week. What's your opinion on fasted workouts? And can it be applied to concurrent full body workouts with lower volume? Of course, man. What do you think I do? I usually train in a fasted state. That's what I do about, let's say, 7 out of 10 times. But most of my workout, I don't have any food in my system. I'm just drinking water. That's it. And then, once that workout is done, I'll have a huge meal. And that's it. Another solution is to eat the meal first, then train, then have another meal. And that's all you have for the day. That also works pretty well. But yeah, man, if you want to fast on a daily basis while running concurrent periodization, man, full body style, for sure. I've been training like this for a long time, my friend. I started using the fasting when I began my cut, and I loved the habit so much, I just stuck with it. So now most of my workouts that you see me doing are fasted. Most of the clips you see on Instagram, most of the workouts that I've been releasing, it's been in a fasted state. Like that's how I've been doing things, man, and it's really good. So don't worry about it. Your body will adapt. It's just something you got to get used to. So do your workout while fasted, and then when it's complete, eat a big meal and reap the benefits. So with that said, I loved your questions. Post some more down below, and I will answer them all next week.